In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to use control charts for monitoring. The control charts are based on a certain set of data that we sometimes call as the historical data, or uh, sometimes we call it as initial data. So here in this case, which is taken from the example I discussed in the class, the car service time, let's say I took an initial sample of 20. Okay, initial sample of 20 days, and the subgroup size is 6. So I'll make my control chart based on this data, and whatever the control limits I get, I want to use these limits to monitor the future times which will be taken for service. This is the control chart which is based on the historical data or the initial data. Every point is under control, so that means I need not to revise it. And here I have lower control limit, average, and UCL. Let's say every day now you are getting the data, new data, which you want to find out is within the control limits or not. So in monitoring, we do not revise our control limits because they are set. Once they are set based on the initial data or the historical data, we do not change them. Now in this case, how to monitor? So I have created another file where I have data from 21, 22, 23rd day, 24th day, 25th day. Total I have 5 samples and 6 data points in each day. Now how to plot these numbers? Okay, and I should make these control limits. So for that, what you need to do is, in the new sheet which I have already imported here, double click on the variable which is time. Now here I'm going to remove it. So right now you will get this type of pop-up, and under column properties choose control limits. So once you choose the control limits, it's going to ask, okay, what type of control charts have you made and what are the limits? So for example, we have made the X bar and R control chart. So here you choose X bar and put all the numbers which you see here. So for example, average is 40.40599. I've put it here. UCL is 42.82909. LCL is 37.98288, and subgroup size is 6. And also make sure that whatever the format you collected the data initially, so for example the historical data based on which you made the control chart, the same format should be used for the data collected for monitoring. By same format I mean that every day the subgroup size was 6 initial for the initial data. Similarly in the monitoring also we will use the subgroup size of 6. We cannot use subgroup size of 5 or 7 because the control limits are based on the subgroup size of 6. So yeah, this is for the X bar. I have put all the limits and the average value. Then go to R because the second chart is R, and I want to feed these control limits data into the column in the monitoring sheet. So under R you write, so average is 5.014227, which I have already mentioned here. LCL is LCL is 0, which I have mentioned here. It should be 0. The UCL is 10.044766. So here I will write 10.044766, and subgroup size is 6. So click OK. So now all the data of the control chart is stored in this particular monitoring sheet, and every time you double click on it, it will give you the data that you have stored. It will show you the data that you have stored. Now how to monitor this? We have to basically plot the averages of each day and see whether they are exceeding the control limits or not. So for that, quality and process control chart, since we can monitor it using X bar, R control chart, choose X bar control chart option. Time is the Y variable, day is the subgroup, and hit OK. And make sure you have selected the right type of chart, range or standard deviation. So in this case it is range, and hit OK. And yeah, so this is how you will get the plot. So if you see here, the LCL and UCL are not based on the monitoring data. They are based on the initial data that you used. for constructing the control chart. And it is also saying okay, it is user defined. Limits were imported from a column property, the operation that you did just now. And it is just plotting. So here actually you can use it for monitoring the process. So that is how you use jumps feature to monitor the this feature of jump to monitor the process after constructing the control charts and implementing it in practice. Thanks.